I'm in a nice office building here today, and we'll talk about exactly, well, we're down here on Venetian, so you can maybe try to figure out where that is. But I met this lady to the left of me here, well, as it turns out, quite some time ago, if I recall, but recently we were talking about a horse. Christine Robertson, thanks for your time here today. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me back, David.
Yeah.
I'm happy to chat with you.
Yeah, well, I know, we just kind of, like I said, we just discovered, or I discovered, that we went to high school together back at St. Clair High School.
Sarnia is a small town.
It is, yeah, full circle for sure, right? And you're from Sarnia then?
Yes, I was born and raised.
Okay.
My mom was from Sarnia. My dad was actually from Glasgow.
Oh.
He immigrated to Canada as an 11-year-old.
Okay.
So
what did he do?
He was a tax assessor for the entirety of his career.
Oh, wow.
And then he was a firm believer in, if you retire and don't have anything to do, that's when you get old. So he retired from one career and he took up bus driving, and he hauled motorhomes for a while. He liked to keep busy.
Yeah.
And they had the farm, so there was all the property to look after.
Your mom, was she full-time mom, or did she work? Or?
My mom was a customs broker. She went to work quite young. She didn't graduate high school. She was one of those ones who just, went to business college and started up here at the bridge. Customs as a broker, and she did that for the entirety of her career until she started her own company in 1997. So,
and that's where we're sitting now.
Yes.
It's Gateway
Customs Broker and Transporter Services.
Yeah, and now you have taken over in your mom's shoes.
Yeah. I took over in about 2004.
Right.
And I'm happy to say we're on our third generation. So my son's come to work for us now. My niece, my nephew. So.
How old's your boy?
He's 26.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite proud of him.
Yeah, and he just was he around it, and he said, "Hey, I'd like to do that too," or did you kind of guide him to say, here's an opportunity? Like, how did he come to that?
I always believe that you need to give your kids roots and wings. So I wanted him to figure out what he wanted. He knew where home was. He knew where the home base was. He knew the opportunity was here. He tried college, or excuse me, not college, university.
Okay.
He did a few years at King's College in London.
All right.
And he's also in the reserves.
Okay.
In the First Hussars. So he would do full-time contracts every summer. He deployed to Lebanon for a stint, about 6 months he was there, over COVID. He worked in the long-term care homes over COVID with the Army, full-time over the summer. Wow. So he really has seen what's out there.
Sure,
and
probably more than most.
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name?
Buster.
Buster. Right.
Buster Teal.
Buster Teal. Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks, Buster, for your service.
Thank you, Buster.
Yeah.
Yes.
And is he your only son, or your?
He is. Yeah.
Okay.
I have one child.
Okay.
And
is he spoiled then? I mean that in a good way, right? Of course he's privileged.
He's
your boy.
He's privileged. He maybe spoiled, but not indulged. He has turned into an amazing human being. I enjoy his company as an adult.
Yeah.
It's awful. We raise these human beings, and they turn out awesome, but they leave.
Yeah,
so I have the luxury of being able to talk to him weekly, daily, because I work with them.
How are you how are you, and then how is he? He's not here to defend himself, but there has to be a line, I think, between mom and boss.
Oh, for sure.
How does that work out?
My mom led by example with that. So my son grew up seeing our dynamic between my mom and I. So he understands where that split takes, and we've learned to navigate that very well. Yeah. So
don't roll your eyes in front of the boss.
No. You know what? I respect him as a human being.
Yeah. Sounds like a good relationship.
It is. He's just, I can't rap about him. You might have to tone this down when you edit this. Sorry. But thank you. He shines a spotlight on things I maybe don't notice, and he just does it wonderfully. Like, the Army gave him more managerial experience than I ever could. Like, he he has done a lot more than I could have ever trained him for. So he's brought a lot to the table.
Well, you started off right away by saying, before we even talked, you just said, I'm super proud of him.
Oh.
It was just right away. It just rolled off your tongue there.
Yeah,
so
I love introducing him. I love being in the room with him. He's just a good human being, and he's got a wonderful fiance. They're getting married in about a month.
Oh, really? Oh, congratulations. That's exciting.
Yeah, so, he's... pat myself on the back a little bit. I did good. I did good.
Yeah, you did good. All right.
Yeah.
Well, and then, so this business has, you kind of mentioned before we started the camera, it's allowed you to do some things that you really enjoy doing, and that one thing would be horses, I guess, is what you're talking about.
Absolutely. It's awarded me huge privilege to have the time to go through the daytime or as needed for the horse. Like when you own a business, other business owners can agree with me here, it's 7/24. It's not 9 to 5.
You don't own the business owns you.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, and I have amazing people I work with, and part of what works is being available to them. So they don't mind if I duck out for a couple hours in the day to go look after.
So how many staff would you have?
We've got 3 full-time besides myself, and then a couple part-time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Where did just in case you folks didn't know that, we recently were at the Kentucky Derby event put on by Couture for Sarnia. And you brought your horse.
I did.
Clifford is what you call him, but he goes by another name at the races, or
McDreamy.
McDreamy.
Yeah, that was his registered race name.
Yeah, and he is a descendant of Secretariat.
Yes.
And that's kind of cool.
It is. Anecdotally, it is cool. It was not the reason at all that I purchased him. He was my horse.
I'm not a horse guy, and I know who Secretariat was. Right. So it is pretty cool.
It is cool. At the end of the day, he is just an amazing horse for me. So
when we talked the other day, one of the things that came up, and actually when I interviewed Karen as well, completely separate. They hadn't heard each other. They both said the same thing: is that horses are therapy.
Oh, yeah.
And when I was getting my picture taken beside Clifford there, I was a little nervous, like it's a big animal, got bit by a dog when I was younger, those, not that, but it's a big animal and everything. And I stood beside Clifford just for a second. I was like, what's it going to do? But there was this feeling all of a sudden that I felt safe. It was weird. Like, for me, it was weird. I was like, what's going on here, this animal? And then when I petted him, it was just... wasn't like petting a cat or a dog. It was very unique. Is that what am I trying to say? Like, how is that with horses?
Horses are very reactive. Yeah. And it's a bit woo-woo, but some people have talked about how when you're happy and you're in love, your heart radiates joy several feet out of your body, and other animals or people can pick up on that. Right. And horses are very sensitive like that. Yeah. And being a reactive, anxious person myself, it forces me just to be in the moment, to be calm, to come to him at his level. Oh, it's such an exhale for me. Like you can't.
Grooming that horse would be an experience too, I think.
Oh yeah, it's just when you hit the good spot for him and he starts licking his lips and chewing his jaw, and you made him feel good.
Purrs, right?
Yeah. You watch for the signs of him just relaxing and exhaling too, and it just creates a beautiful,
you're doing
dynamic.
The same thing you did the other day. Is so happy and so joyful coming out of your face there. Like
I think everybody, even if it's not around animals, if you're not an animal person, I think being out in nature, stepping away from the noise, stepping away from...
100%.
Yeah, stepping away from it all is
I don't
good.
mind animals. I don't want to look after them. Like, I'm being honest. Like, that's why my wife and I don't have a dog, and even a cat, right? And everybody says, oh, you don't have to look after a cat. Yeah, you do, kind of. I just don't want to look after them. I have joy from it, for sure.
Yeah.
I'll come over and pet somebody else's cat or dog and horse, right?
Yeah.
Is Clifford your first horse?
No.
Okay. So what was your first taste? Like, where does that come from, the horses?
I was that little girl who was horse crazy. You know, other kids made snowmen. I made snow horses. We did archery in the backyard. We grew up out in the country, and
nice.
I would pretend I was riding a horse and then jump off and run around. And
you were the superhero?
Yeah, like I was that kid. And then I probably was 12. I biked down every day one summer to a local barn, and I just made friends with the woman there. I will do whatever you need, shovel, clean, feed, water, paint. I did it all in trade for riding and just spending time with the horses.
Is that right?
Yeah, and
Wow.
Just that Sarnia, small town, my sister knew some of their siblings, you know.
Right.
So like we knew each other over the years, and I ended up purchasing a horse from her again at 18.
Wow.
And yeah, I had that horse for quite a few years until life takes over and I had a baby, and you know, I was in my early 30s and I just did not have time.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of work for my dad. So the decision was made to give her back, my mare back to the woman I bought her from.
18 years old, you're buying a horse.
Yeah. My grandmother, bless her heart, purchased it for me. So it was sort of a graduation gift.
But still, like that responsibility, like most 18-year-olds are looking to buy a shiny car, or looking to, you know, start a job career and maybe buy a house and all that, you know.
At 18, this was my career.
Yeah.
I started fresh out of high school. I've been doing this for 36 years.
Yeah.
So I was
But
very
still a lot of responsibility to look after a horse. I'm thinking, like, I don't know, you got to feed it, and that's not just like, you don't just go down to the local grocery store and buy cat chow or something, right? Like you have to go to a...
No, but he is boarded at a place where they look after that,
Yeah.
you know, and make sure he gets all the right nutrition.
Oh, okay.
And it's supplemented with hay on top of the grass. So they're not on the grass yet because it's a seasonal thing. Mm-hmm. So all the hay he wants and the extra grains and everything. But it was something you said that triggered in me. You don't want the responsibility of looking after an animal. And I tend to be somebody, I don't want the responsibility of looking after myself, you know, and it even
I get it.
Our own mental well-being, I don't know if it's a personality thing, but some of us just put other people and things first. It comes naturally to me. Yeah. So the responsibility of looking after my horse ensures I'm looking after myself too.
That's really interesting.
I need to make sure I've got snacks in the car because I find I make it till dinner time. It's like, I forgot to eat today. I was just too busy.
It's the big kid.
Too into it, you know? So, and the commitment to bettering the critters I've brought into my world helps me be better. So.
Well, let's talk about some of the other critters. I want to come back to Clifford there, but I got a few questions. But the other critters, like I said, we're here at the office and everything, and you're like, well, it was better than the mayhem at home. And you were talking about dogs, and you said chickens
and a cat
and a cat and
a lot of chickens right now.
Yeah, chickens. How many do you have?
We're allowed 12 in the city.
Right.
So I have 12.
Yeah, gotcha. 10-4.
Yeah.
And so you have them for eggs and
pets. Yeah. But they're beautiful, and
So I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at it's just I
know.
It sounds like having a chicken for a pet would kind of be a fun thing.
It is. It is. They have personalities. I now can no longer.
More people do than I think some people realize.
I can't eat chicken anymore because of it.
They're better change my supper plans.
No. And I've been hatching. I hatch the chicks and I sell day olds. I've got pure silkies and I've got the funky chickens. I don't have just your basic.
Right.
You know, backyard.
What's the I'm going to get this wrong. There's a term for the egg. They're farm eggs, but they're called something.
Unwashed?
No.
Farm fresh?
Anyway, it'll come to me if I stop thinking about it.
Yeah, but, 3 a.m.
Right, I'll call you. What are eggs from that chicken better than buying at the grocery store?
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, because...
This is a responsibility to these animals, forces me to really think about it. And I've gone down the rabbit hole of the food chain. And I just if you eat the egg, you're eating what the chicken eats. So you don't want the chicken to eat garbage. And I'm going to get all into gardening this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, like if I'm thinking so much about the nutrition of my animals, I got to start thinking about my own nutrition.
Yeah.
And I'm not 20 anymore.
Yeah.
So
How many eggs would a chicken lay? Like, do they daily or weekly? Or
I've got the bantam kind that are supposed to lay 4 eggs a week.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to lay an egg every day for months, and then they kind of go broody on me. So they hide out on the nest and think they're hatching imaginary eggs. It's a whole process the hen goes through. Her body temperature goes up, everything, because she wants to hatch eggs.
Right, right. How many chicken jokes have you heard in your lifetime then?
I get a lot of chicken spam in my inboxes, my messenger, and to all of my friends, keep doing it. I love it.
Oh,
you know I do. So I love it. There's just so much out there.
Yeah, interesting. And that's, well, you said you grew up on a farm, right? So I'm assuming.
Well, I grew up out in the country.
Right.
And then my parents moved into the city and bought a farm. It was strange. Blackwell Side Road. So we were closer. We were 5 minutes from the mall. Yeah. But on 30 acres. Whereas out in Kamlaki, we were half an hour from town, but we lived, on King Street.
Blackwell, oh, really? King Street? Interesting.
Blackwell, King Street's where I grew up, and then Blackwell Side Road.
Okay. I have some step family lives out there, lives on that street. Whereabouts on Blackwell Side Road?
North of the highway.
So north, okay. Like north
backed onto the airport. It was one of the ones that was just completely remodeled.
North of London Road, north of London Road, over Blackwell, you said north of the highway. North of the highway. Before Michigan?
South of Michigan, south of Michigan, before Michigan.
Oh. On the if I'm going north, left or right hand side? Right. Okay. All right. I think I have an idea. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. And does that still exist now? Like what? My parents are both gone, unfortunately, and the farm was sold. It was a lot for my dad in the end to look after, and there was no desire to keep it in the family. It's too much for one person. Yeah. What's the mom and dad? Let's go back to them a little bit. Who was the there's always one that is the disciplinary, and one is the kind-hearted, softer one. The good cop, bad cop, I guess, is a nice way to put that. Yeah, I don't know how to answer that one. Both of my parents could have very short fuses. Yeah. Stern. My dad had a longer fuse, but man, when they lost their temper, it was something else. Yeah. There's some teenage boys out there, probably a little bit older than you now, who have memories of my dad. Oh, is that right? Yeah. Pretty protective, you mean? Yeah. He had all girls, so he was. Fair enough. No, he used to use his deep baritone voice when he answered the phone, because the little boys would call, is Christine there? Hello. Right, gotcha. Yeah. Did you enjoy school? Or were you, I always ask that question to my guests, because I think like public school is one thing. We're still, we're either getting bullied on the playground, or we are the bully, or we're, there's a lot going on there. And by the time we get to high school, we're really starting to, we're still maturing, but the pressure's on to start figuring it out. Oh, I don't know that I loved school. I will say that I love learning, and I'm curious, and I would learn every day of my life if I could. I don't think school is necessarily the structure for that for everybody. We all learn differently. I'm with you. Yeah. I couldn't wait to get out of high school. Standardized so much tests. That I didn't graduate. There you go. This is. We are all different. Yeah. And I think the education system needs a little bit of an overhaul. Let's talk about that. How so? Because we probably have similar philosophies on it. Well, even if you look at the European countries, they go to school from early in the morning, 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. Mm-hmm. This 6-hour day with all these breaks, it's a waste of time. Our kids are not learning what to do with free time beyond scroll through their phones. Mm-hmm. There needs to be more elective course
subject matter or learning processes for the kids, because
Yeah.
some are visual where some learn from doing.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, I don't even know what I'm quoting this from, but you can't judge a goldfish for how it rides a bike.
No, that's right. Yeah,
You
right.
know?
Good point, right?
So-
Well, and I found too, at least for me, learning, like, it wasn't just like, you know, everybody learns differently. It was, for me, it was depending on the subject. Certain subjects, it's like I wanted to read about it, and other subjects, I wanted to watch a video on it, right? You know? So
Exactly.
it wasn't just like, okay, he learns visually. It was all, and these things all work differently up there for all of us, right?
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
We're sort of taught, conditioned, if you will, to this way. And I'm all about structure. I think there has to be structure, but there can be flexibility in structure too.
I think COVID drew attention to that for a lot of the parents with kids struggling.
Yeah.
Social anxieties, you name it. There are kids who do better home learning, online learning.
Yep.
And there are kids who are social and get a lot out of it and extroverted and want to be amongst those people. And I think COVID really brought it to light that there is more than one way to help our young people.
And I'd been live streaming for, well, it'll be almost 16 years. I've been doing so long before COVID. I was going live and doing stuff, right? So I got a lot of messages and phone calls when that happened, and it was like, how do I do this and how do I do that? And actually, some people, I thought, well, I'll talk about my son Jason. Like, he was in college, and he needed to get some more courses, and I said, well, you go back, and he couldn't do it online. And I thought he'd be the one who'd want to do it online,
Yeah.
because he's not extroverted like his dad is by any means, right? So,
But
but the opposite was, he's like, no, I still want to be able to talk to the teacher.
and I think that's brilliant of your son to recognize that about himself, because he might not have the discipline
Yeah.
to push himself and commit to the daily
Well,
structure of nope, I got to do this every day, you know?
yeah, kind of like being self-employed. You have to tell yourself to be there, because nobody's
Yeah.
going to fire you if you don't.
Nope,
right?
exactly.
I mean, it might not work out very well in the long term, but yeah.
Yeah.
What about like things that we teach? Like you said, there should be more, you know, elective there rather than, you know, thou shalt take geography.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in, this is going really deep,
It's okay.
societies that are healthy have art and music and it isn't just about the almighty dollar and capitalism and producing. And I think if you have a well-rounded society, there is room for the boy who wants to be an auto mechanic to also maybe learn about a little bit of ancient history or ancient art if he
Yeah.
wants, you know. And it is just too streamlined, too, I can't think of the word I'm looking for.
Yeah,
Like,
I know what you mean.
the
Like, I
whole
would say
goal-
structured, but like
the whole
it's-
goal is, what are you going to do for the rest of your life?
Yep.
Why don't
What do you
we-
want to be when you grow up?
Why don't we teach them some critical thinking skills and teach them to be curious and to want to go out and learn? And
I agree. It's and this conversation comes up regularly in these interviews, and like money, for example. What's a credit report?
oh my gosh,
How do you
yes.
get a mortgage? How to balance? Well, I guess you don't balance a checkbook much anymore, but you know
But you need to
that
know, like-
how do I balance?
Yeah.
Because I know I got an app that can do that for me, and I can ask ChatGPT to calculate it all. I use ChatGPT every day, but I still want to use this, right? Like I think something like artificial intelligence is great. People need to learn it because it's a new technology. The same way like Word Perfect, you know.
But well, you just touched on ChatGPT, and that is the bane of every university professor out there, because all the students are using them to write their essays.
Yeah.
So if we're at that point, what do we need to teach our kids at all?
Yeah, like I taught at the college for a little while,
Okay.
and I taught, but I was teaching like online things like live streaming and that sort of thing, how to make an income online. And I told my students, I said, I don't have a problem with you using ChatGPT for certain things. If I ask you for an essay, no, thou shalt not. And there's ways to detect that.
Yeah.
Especially, and I'm not even talking about other programs to detect it. I'm talking about knowing my student. I can read something and I should be able to go, so Christine, when you wrote this, what did this mean? Explain that to me. And then and I know Christine doesn't even know that word, would never, you know what I mean? Like, your students.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think that, there still is something to be said for writing it out or write it down, however you want to say it. But I just, it's an adaptation to where we are. I remember my dad, passed now, would say, I'm never going to have one of those cell phones. But then he had one.
Yeah.
Well, his wife did. But, I'm never going to have one of those. And that was a flippy phone, So to where we are now, we adapt from Word Perfect, which doesn't, you remember Word Perfect, right?
I still use it, so yeah, I
right?
do.
And then
yeah.
Word, right? But if you were a receptionist or a secretary and you didn't learn that, and because you were a secretary before that just did all of this and this,
Yeah.
you probably didn't have a job. So you had to learn to adapt. Is that not?
Yeah, secretaries have always been needed, and they've evolved over the decades with the new toys and tools that are out there. But
Right. What about in your world here as a customs broker? Do you use ChatGPT?
oh gosh, no. We're dealing with customs,
Yeah.
and we have a specific program that we've paid for, like a software provider, that our system can talk to customs system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't ever see that coming into your world? Like I don't know how it works in your world.
No, our world is based on,
Yeah.
bills of sale and transactional.
Right. Because they use it for like analyzing diseases and that sort of thing, all that artificial intelligence, and it speeds up the process and all that sort of thing. So, are you concerned about artificial intelligence?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Does it scare you? Like what's your concern there?
That it will unburden the people who need to be burdened with a little bit of hard thinking.
Challenging? We need to challenge ourselves? Yeah.
You can edit this part out, but post-COVID, and we have talked about it with our friends, my son's 26, and even he says it, there's a certain demographic, shall we say, that are a bit feral.
Okay.
Locally, like the kids don't turn their cell phones off at the movie theaters now. They're loud, they're obnoxious, and ChatGPT isn't helping them learn how to navigate the real world and how people from previous generations want to deal with them. And we're not going to be impressed with your ChatGPT interview, or sorry, not interview, but essays,
right.
CVs, resumes, whatever you want to call them. You know, it's. I think.
Is there a place for it at all, or would you rather just see it go away?
I don't know enough about it to really have an opinion. And the one thing I have learned is don't have an opinion until you have facts.
Yeah, right.
So I'm still learning about it. I don't know that much about it. It makes me a little bit leery. How's that?
And I
people uploading photos, like with all the facial recognition and the deep fakes that they can do with your photos.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's
a
positive and a negative to it, right? I mean, you can, when they first went from horses to cars, nobody wanted the car. Right? They were afraid of the car. It was a new technology. It was, how is that going to go? And, it's going to pollute things, whatever it was.
Oh,
right?
my God, they were all right. We should go back to horses.
Right.
Let's go back to horses.
Bad example, David.
Yeah.
No, but you know what I mean? Like that adaptation. Amazon is an example of when that started, it was books, right? And most people said, well, I'll never give my credit card on the internet. Now it's an autofill, right? You know,
I was a hardcore Amazon girl until January 20th of this year. And then when I saw where Jeff Bezos was standing, I decided to cancel my Amazon account.
Oh, okay.
So I cold turkeyed out of Amazon, and oh my God, I've saved so much money. So much money. It's incredible.
So what, are you just going to use Temu now?
Do you know how much stuff I bought that I didn't need?
Yes.
So,
I get it.
And yeah, it's a bit of a struggle sometimes to find things locally.
Yeah.
You know, if you want variety or
Yep.
things to choose from. But I elbows up.
Yeah.
No Amazon for me right now.
Yeah. Well, and I get like, I might get in trouble for this. I don't know. I have before. I support local as much as I can afford to.
Oh, for sure.
And if for what I need. Like there are certain things, gadgets, whatever you want to call them, that I can't buy them anywhere locally.
I know.
So if I can get them online, and I'm not even just saying Amazon, anywhere for a better price for what I'm looking for.
I
that's
agree
where
with
I have
you.
to go, right?
At the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you.
Yeah.
And I believe that, you
And
know.
the bottom line, when you're in business, the bottom line is the bottom line.
Exactly.
Right?
And our homes we should run them like a business and watch
Yeah.
our bottom line. You
Yeah.
know, we need to, especially with the price of everything right now.
That's why Jennifer handles most of that. There's a good balance there between her and I. I'm the risk taker, and I'd buy two of those instead of. What do you need two for? Well, when one breaks, I'll have it right there. You know, she shakes her head, right? But
Yeah, and for me, the eye opener is the stuff I didn't need. So,
yeah,
man, I have so much.
buy another horse.
Well,
is that in the works? Maybe.
no.
Okay.
You met my horse. He's huge, right? And my first
He's a
thought,
big
like
fella.
the first month I've owned him, I've had him for a little over a year, was, I'm going to need a shorter horse when I have grandchildren. So, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. I don't need anything else.
I
I'm
hear you.
grateful and happy and overjoyed with what I have.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's nothing that can be left on my front porch that will make me any happier than just waking
Right.
up to go feed my chickens and then
Yeah.
look after my business and my employees. And
Yeah. Let's shift back to Clifford a little bit. I wanted to
Sure.
ask you. Sure. She's like,
Yeah,
I
I'll
could just
talk about my
talk
horse.
all day about my horse. Describe his personality.
he is just so chill.
Yeah.
Like, he's a red horse. And everybody was doing that, turn my horse into a man and turn my dog into a man with ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, I did it, but it was dumb. It was like, it was
Gotcha. She
dumb.
did it, yeah.
Like, it was so dumb. It was just like some random stock photo in front of the barn. And in my head, did you watch Game of Thrones?
I never ever did watch that at
man.
all.
It's the redheaded actor. I don't know his real name,
Yeah,
but he
I
played
do know who you're
Tormund.
talking about.
He's
yeah.
the ginger with the beard.
Yeah.
That's my horse right there. When I
yeah?
picture him in man form, in human form,
Okay.
that's his personality. That's his.
Is that's a strong personality then, or
Oh, he's
I don't know. I don't
he's
know the
strong.
character.
He's strong. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he
Because they say don't have a ginger cat
really.
because they're just crazy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, ginger horses are kind of the same way, but he's a saint.
Yeah.
He's just a delight. He is so chill. Like
Yeah.
he's just chill. He was never going to cut it as a racehorse, I don't think. You
No.
know, he's just chill.
Is he
just-
protective of you?
When I ride him, yes. Like
Yeah.
when I first was riding him, I was back into English, which I'd not ridden in for a bit. And there's a few times I was like getting a little off balance. He'd slow to a walk. Like he babysits the rider.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we're conditioning him again, and I want to get a little bit more weight on him. So
Okay.
yeah, I won't be riding him for a bit. Just
Yeah.
work him from the ground, a lot of groundwork. And the little 9-year-old on him was fine.
Yeah.
She's not too heavy for him. So
Yeah. And riding is when I was younger, my aunt and uncle had a farm down in Barrie, and they had 2 ponies and 2 horses.
okay.
And of course, as a kid, we got to go out and ride, and I wanted to ride all day because I was a cowboy, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. But I learned very quickly there's a lot to the horse like, you don't just go out and ride a horse.
No.
You talk to the horse. You walk the horse. You get to know the horse, is what I was taught. Is that fair and accurate?
Yeah. Any good riding school, riding lesson, you go out to the field, you get your horse, you bring it in, you clean it, you groom it, you pick the hooves, you tack it up, and then you ride. Because if you think you're going to show up and hop on a horse, he's not going to know you, he's not going to respect you,
Right.
and they get
you're
sour
not going to
that
respect
way.
it either.
Yeah,
Right?
and they just need to know, like, who are you? And horses are obviously trained with humans, and they trust us that, you know, if you're acting all scared and agitated and you're scared around the horses, they don't know that you're scared of them. They think you see a bear. So you need to, if you're going to get into riding horses, yes, you need to handle them and talk to them, walk them, and let them know your friend.
And they're very instinctive too, are they? Like, what I mean by that is, like, I remember when I did ride, I was always prepared for, like, we would go out, but as soon as we turned around and that nose of that horse faced back towards home, it went.
They have a strong herd mentality.
Yeah.
They are creatures of habit. You have to be careful. When we do trail rides, we go out through the woods and it's all loop, so they can't really tell when they're pointed back home.
Yeah, right.
So, you do it the smart way. When you're kids, you do the dumb stuff. I did lots of dumb stuff as a kid.
Yeah, the dumb stuff. One of them would be like, don't clench up around, don't tighten up around them, because that's telling them to go.
Well, yes and no. It's each horse is a little different.
Pull back on the reins. So yeah, whatever. I
Yeah.
just remember doing that one time, and then it was probably about 10 years ago. I went, you might even know her, Nikki. She had horses. And
Lemoyne?
yeah.
Yeah, I grew up with Nikki.
Yeah, so I went riding with her, it's probably 15 years ago now, and she said, just remember, like, don't, do that. And,
Don't squeeze.
And we went through, and we were going through trails where I thought, never mind how am I going to fit through there. How is this horse going to fit through there? But they do.
Oh, yeah. Let them have their head. They know
Yeah.
what they're doing. They know
And
where to
it's
go.
like, but you got to watch your own head, because they're not, they don't go, okay, well, there's 5 feet up there. Yeah.
Yeah, no. And some of them are like, that looks like a low branch. I'll go under that one.
Yeah.
And my horse, again, is 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
I get all the cobwebs and the branches for everybody.
Okay,
so.
right. So what kind of horse is he?
He's technically an off-track thoroughbred.
No, track thoroughbred.
So he's a thoroughbred who was trained as a racehorse.
Right. Okay. So, but he didn't race.
He did.
Oh, he did
He
for
had
a while.
2 starts,
Okay.
made about $600.
Okay.
And I've said it 1,000 times. He got retired on account of the slows.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know if it was an injury. He does have pinstrikes, they call it, where they would cryo freeze. I can't remember the name of the body part on the horse, but it's one of his back legs.
Okay.
So he does have an injury historically.
Okay. And again, you had him showing off at the Kentucky Derby event that was at recently.
Yeah.
Is that something? And you were so happy to show off your horse
Well,
and have people take pictures and everything. Is that something you do regularly, or?
no, and this is the thing for me is up until very recently, I had raging imposter syndrome about my horse
Oh yeah.
and even the company. It's it took me a long time to feel really comfortable about this is my horse and I am damn proud of him.
Yeah.
And same thing with the business. And part of working in a small town that you've grown up in, I want to be able to give back. Like we've got a lot of back talk where we're trying to figure out how to help our community, where to pitch in. And this was just a twofer for me because it allowed me to give back and help out Karen and Couture for the cause. But it also gave me a goal for my horse. And again, I'm not young. I don't want to show. We're not going to the Olympics.
Yeah.
But it just was nice to work on them all that time to,
Prepare them.
clean them up and
How did
show
he
him
do?
off a bit.
Does he get nervous around too many people, or was he?
He did
was okay?
really well. There was some trouble loading him at the end.
Okay.
He had it took a long time to get him back on the trailer, but that is something we will just work on for the
Maybe he
next
was just
year.
having fun and didn't want to go home.
Well, that could be it, but it made it for a long day for him. So
Yeah.
he was happy to be home.
Yeah. So that community side of you that you just brought up, where does that come from? Does that come from mom and dad saying, "Hey, you should get back in your community," or?
Honestly, it's a little bit of that. My parents always believed in helping out and helping out individually. You know, they instilled that in me for sure. But I work with some amazing people. One of the girls who works for me, I think you're going to be seeing her this week, and you might even know her, Lisa Nichols with Brad.
Yeah. Oh yes, I did hear.
She's at the Moose Lodge, and she gets back that way, and we always
We're in the Moose Riders together.
Yeah, she mentioned that.
Yeah.
Brad loves that, and we like to be involved with the Inn of the Good Shepherd at Christmas time.
Yeah.
That is our big thing. We love
Have they
shopping
gotten
for
you
the
to
kids.
become a Moose member yet?
No. I'm looking for a service club. I'm looking for ways to give back.
Well, wouldn't it be funny if I recruited you and Lisa didn't?
Well, no, that's Lisa's territory. That's Lisa's territory. But
she's like, Dave, stop it.
And Lisa knows that, if Gateway can help, let us know.
It's a fantastic, I'll give you my pitch. One of the things I love about the Moose is, and all charities are needed for sure, but we support youth organizations and elderly, so that like local.
I know you do the Air Cadet dinners.
They have that there. But what we give out to, like Rebound and Ohana Landing is another one, and then from the elderly side we have like hospice and brain injury association, those kind of things. We don't. Not that Cancer Society doesn't need money, but we don't go that direction. It's all local and typically independent organizations that are small and need support.
And that's where I believe we need to get back to our community, because those are the people who, like, that is grassroots. It doesn't get more grassroots than that. You know, and
being from Sarnia, I suppose that's part of the attachment for you too.
Absolutely. I'm never going anywhere. I love our town. So
what do you love most about Sarnia?
I love that it is a small town. I am not a big city girl.
Yeah.
I love our lake. I love how the farmland is right there. You know, we are so blessed here. So
you don't have
privileged.
to go far, right? Like I've talked to people like, I lived in Toronto and I had to like plan a half a day to go get my boat in the water. And like here, you just go, we're just going down here, or you're going to the park, or
it's. My son lived in London for the longest time. He moved back to Sarnia, and it's like he just loves that it takes 10 minutes to get anywhere. You know, in London, you're 45 minutes because of the traffic. I'm not built for that.
No,
so.
Jennifer used to live in London years and years ago, and whenever we go back to see my sister, it's like it just seems to get bigger and bigger and take longer and longer to get somewhere. Sarnia, you can get anywhere at the busiest time, hitting every red light.
Just watch out some of those
15 minutes.
People running red lights. That's a thing right now. So
yeah, Brock in London's kind of bad for that.
Yeah, I got smoked on Exmouth.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, Exmouth in the East
Oh,
a year and a
wow.
half ago.
Wow.
And we actually knew somebody else that day somebody ran a stop sign on him. So
oh wow. Okay.
our vehicles were in the compound together the next
Well, as
day.
a motorcycle rider, I tend to when I'm coming up to crossways, I'm always looking. And when I'm sitting at a red light, I look before the green. It goes green. I look left and right before I go.
Yeah, watch out for bikes. Yes. Yeah. Loud pipes save lives. All of it. We were walking downtown a couple summers ago and watched a motorcycle was coming straight through, and somebody turned right into him, and it all happened so slow.
Yeah.
And they were just all distracted by something happening on the sidewalk, but the bike went down, and I mean,
Yeah, I hear you. We both ride, my wife and I. So
yeah. Well, a horse is the same thing. You don't want to fall off a horse. It's dangerous. It's all of it.
I did once when I was younger.
A horse?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've fallen off plenty.
And it was a small horse, but it was still. I was 10.
Small horses are the devil.
So it was
small
like,
horses are the devil. So.
Comanche was her name.
Oh, Mare. Yeah, she was a female. That say no more.
Right. So okay, there you go.
Probably happened in the springtime, right?
As a matter of fact.
Yes.
And I was 10, and I can clearly remember all of that. That's one of those things you don't forget, right?
Yeah.
What else? Like, Sarnia is very unique in its own way too. Like, you talk about size, but do you find like we as a community, as people, like, and this always comes up in most of the interviews, is that we really know how to come together. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. I think as Canadians, it's innate with us.
Yeah.
We have each other's backs, and a small town even more so in Canada. We know who everybody is, and we all want to have a good day and a successful day and move forward.
We all want the same thing, really, don't we?
Yeah.
We want our kids to be happy.
And I think that's achievable in a smaller community. I really do.
Yeah.
There's less anonymity.
Right. More accountability.
Mm.
Do you believe in that saying, it takes a community to raise a child?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we doing that? In this, never mind the province and the country. Are we doing that here, or do we need to still work a little harder at that?
I think the people are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the media or politicians portray it properly. It's too divisive when you get into the media.
Yeah.
The way the stories are told. I think we're going to be okay, but like I said, we need to step away from the noise, turn the TVs off, put the phones down, go back to nature.
But the phones, I agree with you, and I'm kind of being a hypocrite because, I don't want to say I live on my phone, but I work a lot on my phone. I'm using a phone for this interview. I'm a market trader, so I'm always looking at that, and I'm doing that stuff and whatever. And I'm on Facebook. That's kind of where my following is. But I'm not. Candy Crush has never been on my phone. I've never had. I shouldn't say I've never had a game. I had Angry Birds on there once, but I was getting on an airplane and I wanted to keep myself. I just don't. Yeah. I'm productive on my phone, but I do know when to put my phone away.
And not everybody does.
Yeah.
I just know me personally, I've been a lot happier since I've put my phone down. And I've just kind of thrown myself into this second childhood, which is the horse, the chickens. I'm just laughing at the chickens. There's so much chicken stuff I could talk about. I gotta hold back on my chicken talk because I look crazy when I talk about my chickens.
Do you? I want to come over and see your chickens. We have neighbors that had chickens too.
Okay. But I'm sewing clothes for my Barbie doll again, and I'm making dioramas with my Barbie, doing Little House on the Prairie diorama with my Barbie doll. And it's just so refreshing to not have a sore neck at the end of the day because I did this all day.
Yeah,
and
I hear you.
I get it being your job, but in my industry, I'm in front of a computer and I'm on the phone all day. And it was a big stretch of time in my life, where we're just searching. What is it that's going to spark my joy?
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to find it, it seems. And the phone is a distraction from that. And I weep when I see the young people, people out for dinner and they're all on their phone. And I just
literally was out the other day. Jennifer and I looked across. Young couple, I don't know, late 20s, maybe early 30s. And both lovely looking people and looked like happy people and well groomed and all that, but they come in and were seated and, oh yeah, thank you, and they sat down and and then they gave their order, they spoke, and then they walked away and they were right back. Literally not one word, and then the food came. And then when the food came, it wasn't in the hand, it was on the table facing up so they could at least, right? Yeah. Now, I will do that when I'm by myself. if I go out for lunch by myself,
I get that.
I might, but
I've got books
I
on my
don't-
phone. I
yeah,
will read
no,
on my
right.
phone because I just doom
I have-
scroll.
Yeah, and I have the
and-
Audible, right? So I'll put in my AirPods and listen to an Audible book while I'm eating lunch or something.
Yeah.
But I typically, if I'm in a public place, I only put one in. So if you come over and talk to me, I can hear you, and then I can stop and have a conversation. But yeah, no, I agree. I think there's something. But whose fault is that? Not that. I mean, we got to blame somebody. Like, why are we on these phones? Is it the
We're
the-
monkeys with a credit card. That is
well,
my
monkey see, monkey do too, right?
Exactly,
That's what
and-
Jennifer always says, and it's true. And if mom and dad are
Exactly.
on the phone all the time,
not just that, but the algorithms, they get you. They know. They know. And it was a documentary years ago about social media. I can't remember what it was called, but one of the lines out of
Yeah.
it is, if you don't know what the commodity is that's being sold, you are the commodity.
yeah.
You know, if you don't know what they're trying to sell you, you're the commodity.
If you don't think you have an addiction, try to put your phone down for an hour.
I love losing my phone. I just,
See, I have an addiction.
I don't. I don't.
Because I need my phone, though.
Do you?
Yeah, to do my
What
work
did
now.
you do 20 years ago before your phone?
I didn't trade in the markets 20 years ago.
Fair.
Now it's accessible to me.
True, that is a change. Yeah, you'd have to
Right.
go through a broker before.
Right.
Yeah.
And while I still use a broker, it's a different animal now, right? You know.
But what about the people who day
And-
trade
and,
and lose everything because they don't have a foot on the gas pedal? It's not built into them.
Yeah.
You know, I think there are a lot of people who would would benefit from somebody taking their phone out of their hand.
No, I agree.
You know?
No,
It's
I
just
agree. I'm not defending
people
it by
with
any means.
gambling addictions, all of it. It's
I mean,
just-
well, I was a disc jockey for years too. So when you hired me to do your wedding, like I had a book, I had a calendar book,
yeah.
and I wrote in it. And typically, I was the only one who could understand my writing
Yeah.
anyway. But I had that book, and then I got a cell phone, and so you could call me, so I could be more accessible. Because in that stage of the game too, it was like, if you're calling me to be your DJ for your wedding, you're also calling 5 others. So
Yeah,
I needed
competition,
to be
yeah.
right, you know.
You
so
got to answer the phone first. I
right?
get it.
And then technology into texting, and now like Jennifer and I have a rule. It's like, if you're on the third text of a conversation, it's time to call me.
That's brilliant.
But I work at home, so she's not really allowed to call me between 9 and 5 because I'm busy. I'm working.
Yeah.
You know, she works in a dentist office. I'm don't get me wrong. I love my wife. She's wonderful. But she would come into my office and hi, honey, I'm home. You want to kiss me and all that stuff, and that's wonderful.
You
Not-
can't do that when she's at work.
Right.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to come to your dentist office. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to scroll on my phone and I'm going to talk to you once in a while and then ask you questions. And how do you think that would go? Of course, she'd be rolling her eyes right now. She's watching this, but it's true, right? You know,
Yeah.
and we have to spend a little more time with each other.
That's what it's about. It's the quality time. And I think the individual, even if you don't have a partner to make that commitment to, that we're going to like unplug for 2 hours tonight for
Yep.
date night, whatever.
Yep.
I think as an individual, you owe that to yourself as well.
100%.
It is self-care. We didn't used to have to be immediately available for everybody all
Yeah.
the time. That fact alone almost makes my stomach clench and gives me stress.
Yeah.
Like, I have worked really hard to deal with my anxiety. I was not aware I had anxiety to the levels I did until my car accident. And the week after, I'd be sitting there and I'd go into a panic attack. So I've spent the last year and a half trying to rein that in and just meditation and calming. And I hit a point where I want to throw my phone in the lake and never buy another phone. It is for our mental well-being that we need to have quality time and step away. And for me, that's my horse. That's why I rave about it.
Yeah.
My animals. You can't hold a phone when you're holding a chicken.
Well, I got to tell you, it's been very pleasant talking with you, and I didn't know. I kind of had an idea, but I often never know what I'm going to get, so to speak. And you did a wonderful job,
Thank you.
I'm so glad that we did this. I've learned a lot, and I have a feeling we'll be talking more about other things.
Well, and again, thank you for having me back. I'm glad I wasn't dull enough.
Not at all. Well, you were all worried about I don't know what I'm going to talk about. You did fantastic.
Wonderful.
Christine Robertson.
You make it easy.
Well, there you go.
Make it easy, Dave.
Thanks everybody for watching. As always, boy, that time just flies by. And you know what I'm going to say? Click the like or the love button, and click the share button. It's the most important button, so you can share Christine's story and everybody else I have here on the show. But as always, that's all the time I got for you this week. Have a great week and an even better weekend. We'll see you next time right here on the show. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks, Clifford.